In this video, I'm going to share with you the business strategy you need to start doing right now. Because if there's anything that this last year has taught us, it's that there's a whole lot of things outside your control and things can go sideways pretty quickly. But there's one strategy that not only worked last year for the businesses that used it, but actually allowed them to have their best year ever. Growing, taking over new market share, and expanding faster than they ever thought possible, even with all the challenges going on. The good news for you is that it's not too late to deploy this strategy in your business right now. Just please don't make the mistake of ignoring this, falling behind, and getting left in the past. All right, let's get to it. All right, well, the clock is ticking, so let's get straight into it. The business strategy you need to focus on and absolutely start doing right now is prioritizing and expanding your online presence. This means if online and digital marketing aren't already a key focus for your business moving into this year, they need to be. On the other hand, if online and digital marketing have always been a priority, well, this is the year to really double down on them to get even better results. But just telling you, hey, you need to focus on online and digital marketing, well, that's not enough. So I'm gonna break down exactly what you need to focus on and prioritize right now. All right, so the very first thing in order to expand and essentially prioritize and focus on your online and digital marketing is to really double down on social media marketing. Not just any kind of social media marketing, specifically long-form content for social media. First of all, the fact that you need to be doubling down on social media should really come as no surprise. After all, it's probably where your customers are present and active online. And if you're not going there, well, you're not gonna be able to make any sales because people can't buy from you if they don't know you exist. Plus, social media is an amazing platform to build that know, like, and trust factor, essentially helping people know you and start to like you and inevitably start to trust you as you put out more and more helpful and useful and engaging content. The power of this is by showing people that you actually know what you're doing and that you're actually able to help them by providing free and relevant and valuable content before any exchange of money takes place. And this is where long-form content really shines. It's not that I have anything against short posts or quick tweets or mini Instagram captions or anything like that, but let's be honest, there's only so much value you can provide in just a few characters or with just one small image, opposed to really capturing someone's attention and delivering value for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even upwards of an hour. And this is what long-form content allows you to do. With long-form content, you can tell stories, you can engage, you can build rapport, you can essentially build that connection with your audience better than any way that any kind of short-form content ever could hope to do. Now, when it comes to long-form content, there's essentially two different types that you want to pay attention to moving into this year. The first of which is podcasts, and the second is YouTube. The power of these mediums can't be understated. First of all, when people tend to watch YouTube, well, the viewing session on average is around 40 minutes. Not saying they're necessarily watching your content for all 40 of those minutes, but it sure allows you to capture a significant portion of that share of the market. Very similar story exists when we look at podcasts. Podcast listeners tend to listen on average 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes upwards of 1 to even 2 hours for some really long podcasts. Now, if you're comfortable being on video, this is the clear winner here. We're going to talk about that more in just a minute. But if you just can't get over that fear of being on camera, podcasts are a really close second. The point of the matter here is you really do need to pick one or two or both of these forms of long-form content, either a podcast or a YouTube channel moving into the future. Adopting and implementing a long-form content strategy was an absolute game changer for myself and for my business and for pretty much all of my clients and students that use this in their own businesses. But I appreciate getting over that initial hurdle of getting started. It seems a little bit overwhelming. I remember when I first started both my YouTube channel and my podcast, my friends, my family, basically everybody thought I was nuts for spending all of this time and money and energy creating content that, let's be honest, in the early days, nobody was watching. I just about gave up quite a few times. In fact, looking back, I think there was a period of around 3 to 6 months where I gave up on YouTube completely. Or let's just say I hit the pause button. Anyway, I'm glad I got back on the horse and stuck with it. And so is pretty much everyone that I speak to that makes creating consistent long-form content a regular part of their business growth strategy. It's simply too effective a strategy to ignore. So on the topic of long-form content, seeing as we've kind of already discussed podcasts and YouTube, well, let's dive even deeper into the importance of online video marketing. It's no secret that video is one of, if not the most effective form of persuasion and communication outside of face-to-face in-person communication, which comes with some significant limitations, notably the fact that you can only do it really one-to-one at any given time. Unless we're talking about standing on stage and giving giant conferences and seminars, but that's a whole other topic for a whole whole other day. The point is that video is an incredibly persuasive communication tool. First of all, it allows you to hear someone's voice, but you can also see them and you can judge their body language, and you can really try to get a feeling and an understanding for who they are, what they care about, and the message they're trying to convey. Plus, it doesn't matter what statistic you look at. It all points in the same direction. People are watching a lot of online video. Like a lot, like huge amounts. In fact, online video content is the preferred choice among most consumers for consuming content or learning about brands or businesses or products or services. So if you're not creating videos, now's the time. And if you're already creating videos, great for you, but let's increase that just a little bit. The beauty of video is that you really can start small with, say, short videos for Instagram stories. If you're feeling a little braver, you could try going live with Facebook or YouTube or Instagram as well. And of course, you could really double down on your video strategy, which is my definite recommendation, and pursue longer form video content by starting your own YouTube channel, much like this one. All of these are going to help you reach new people, provide more value, establish your expertise, become better at your craft, and grow your business. All right, when it comes to growing your online presence and essentially prioritizing it, well, you have two different ways of promoting and getting more traffic. One of which is organic, also known as free, and the other is paid, also known as paid. Organic is all the free stuff, like anytime you just post on Instagram, or write a Facebook post, or tweet something, or basically anytime that you're not running an ad. The flip side of that is anytime you do run an ad, like a Facebook ad, an Instagram ad, a YouTube ad, a LinkedIn ad, basically anything with the word ad added on the end. Now, neither organic or paid is necessarily better than the other. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. However, if it comes to getting fast results and to really increasing your reach with speed and with a ton of focus and a ton of targeting options, there's simply no better option than paid online advertising. Basically, with paid ads like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads, and so on, well, you can get in front of hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people by the end of the day, just by throwing some money at it. Now, of course, with this great power comes great responsibility. I've seen more people go broke on terrible advertising campaigns because advertising is an accelerator, meaning if you have a great message and a great offer, great targeting, well, advertising is going to allow you to get better results and essentially amplify the results you're getting a whole lot quicker. On the other hand, if you've got an offer that's unproven, a market you're kind of sketchy on, and really just a message that isn't resonating, well, spending a ton of money on ads is an even faster way to go broke. This is why with online advertising, just like with all forms of marketing and digital marketing, you need to be strategic and you need to think through all of the components of your marketing and your messaging and the media source that you're going to use and everything that goes into it before spending money on ads. All right, the next way to really double down on your online presence, to expand it, to nurture it, and to build even more rapport among your audience is to use email marketing. Yes, email marketing. Even today. In fact, maybe even more so today than ever before, because while certain social media channels and platforms and tactics seem to come and go, email has stood the test of time. See, not everybody watches cable or network TV, so running TV ads probably isn't the best way to communicate with your audience. And not everybody listens to the radio, not to mention radio tends to be pretty regional, pretty geographic specific for the kind of market you're gonna reach, so that's probably not a good plan either. And not everybody reads the newspaper. In fact, I can think of very few people that do read the newspaper. And even if you were to advertise in the newspaper, it tends to be pretty cost prohibitive, especially if you're trying to advertise in a newspaper that actually gets pretty decent distribution. Email, on the other hand, well, everybody uses email. In fact, I can't think of a single person I know that doesn't have an email address, even my grandma. Of course, writing an email to your friends or to your family, to your grandma, is a completely different thing than writing a sales-oriented or content marketing-based message. That said, email as a channel, as a medium, still a phenomenal tool to build that online presence. All right, brace yourself for the next one. It's a bit of a mouthful, but next I want to talk about omnipresent multi-channel marketing. Whew. Fancy talk. But really, all it comes down to is just two different terms, omnipresent and multi-channel. So let me break each one of those down now. Omnipresent simply means being everywhere, or rather, being perceived as being everywhere. Now, there's an important point here in that when I say everywhere, I'm not literally talking about everywhere. I'm talking about everywhere that your ideal target market is present and active online. Not just being everywhere because somebody told you you need to be on every single different social media platform. That's honestly quite a waste of time and energy, and a recipe for overwhelm and disaster. I know, because that's what I did in the early days of my business, creating marketing for all of the different social media platforms. Tons of content, tons of management, tons of time and energy and headaches. And the worst thing of it all is that my ideal target market wasn't on all of these platforms. They were only on one or two or maybe three. So I could have been a whole lot more selective, which is the strategy I obviously advise now. Anyway, when you're selective, when you're perceived as being everywhere and really strategic about your channel placements, well, it allows you to be perceived by your market as essentially that everywhere positioning, which allows you to increase touch points for pennies on the dollar, opposed to spreading yourself too thin. And when you increase touch points, when you show up again and again and again in front of your ideal target market, we as humans are naturally conditioned to associate frequency with trust. So the more you show up, the more people trust you. All right, now, even though I kind of touched on it before, let's talk about multi-channel, which essentially just means being on a bunch of multiple different channels. See, this stuff isn't that complicated. Anyway, the main point with multi-channel here is again to be selective, to pick the channels that only your ideal target market are present and active on, and ignore everything else. Seriously, this is important, so I'm gonna say it one more time. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to do everything. You just need to be present and active where your ideal target market are present and active as well. And then go there, ignoring everything else. Of all the things I've just shared though, there's one single skill that stands head and shoulders above the rest in regards to importance and to really expanding and building your online presence. And that is marketing strategy. Marketing strategy is essentially the framework that all of these things are built on. And it's the reason why the next thing you're gonna wanna do is check out the video I have linked up right here on Introduction to Marketing. So make sure to check that out now, and I'll see you in the next video. Marketing helps people solve their problems by clearly defining and delivering solutions and really explaining the benefits of those solutions so they can get better results.